to Empower Hour. Wow, there's so many of you jumping in. Thank you for coming on to the most important call of your week, the most important hour of your Monday, and of all 7 of your days. We're really excited this week because we have 5 testimonies from people experiencing awesome moments and moving breakthroughs through the regional family cons that happen across the nation. So I need to find someone that can pray that has their video up that's not Yasu or Yasu. Maybe Yuki Watabe, would you mind opening us in prayer?
Oh, can you hear?
Yes.
Oh, wait a second. Okay. Please join me in my prayer. Thank you so much for Heaven Parent and True Parents. Thank you so much this time, this Empower Hour, together with all the brothers and sisters through this country. Heaven Parent, today we will hear some testimony about the last Famicom in each sub-regions. And then we want to inherit what we did through each Famicom. And then we want to not only just inherit and also practice what we learn to the next 7 years. Heaven Parent, thank you so much this day. Hopefully we can learn many things through this Empower Hour. Thank you so much, Heaven Parent. I will offer this prayer in the name of Yuki's Generation Blessed Family. Aju.
Aju. Thank you, Yuki. Thanks. Okay. Again, welcome. Thank you so much, everyone. Next we're gonna go to a hundake. So if I can pass this over to Jenny to share the hundake for today.
All right. Thank you, Josh. Good evening, everyone. Nice to see everyone. Nice to hear my Yuki's literally next door to me, so nice to hear your prayer. All right, so today's hundoke. This is Chimother's speech at the Victory Celebration and 2027 kickoff. This was the day after all the World Summit and the blessing and all of that finished in Korea. And so this is where I think Mother's really wrapping up all the victory and also giving direction for the next 7 years and pointing us in where we're going next. And by the way, you can find all these speeches on familyfed.org. I saw that they just posted a bunch of the recent speeches today. All right. So this is Mother's words. I feel very good. You have all worked hard together, and I'm proud of you. However, I would like to clearly state one point in particular. Although the foundation prepared by heaven was unable to fully support us, nevertheless, because we are the true parents striving to save humankind, we were able to spend over 40 years doing missionary work in America, a nation representing democracy. During this period, America, a nation blessed by God, was falling apart due to the breakdown of the family, moral decadence among the youth, and widespread drug problems. True Parents toured America declaring its family was sick and its house was on fire, and that we had come as doctors and firefighters. Those who were aware all agreed. Hippies, the outcast people of that time, heard the words of life and joined the Unification Church. They were reborn, and our church membership grew exponentially. However, many politicians felt threatened. The presence of True Father in America made their political lives difficult, so they conspired to prevent him from living and working in America. That was the Danbury situation. You were all aware of this, right? Through manipulation and scheming, they tried to discredit Reverend Moon. After his Seonghwa, what do you think True Father's hope was? He continued to wish for the restoration of God's homeland, and of course, for national restoration and global restoration. Ladies and gentlemen, Do you love true Father? Then what must we do? I'm not urging you to go into politics or to aspire to become the president. What must you do? Always, those in power on Satan's side, those who don't know heaven's providence, fear us. I proclaimed Chanilguk. I said this clearly. Chanilguk is a nation in which we are together with our heavenly parent, as one human family under God. Yet those who do not know the providence can often cause problems. I am not a fool. I do not move haphazardly. Therefore, within the next 2 years at least, you must bring about national restoration. I am asking you to find people who will come to have focus on this nation's politics. You should create an environment in which this can be done. Here in Korea, we have a 5 sub-region system, correct? Will you take on this responsibility? So we will continue using this system here in Korea and throughout the world for the next 6 months and see how it goes. However, we must focus on strengthening the Secretariat. You need to know that. In the nation's presidential secretariat, there isn't just one person. There are many people. I too, primarily will use that kind of system. I will especially emphasize the status of Chanilguk so that politicians cannot ignore us. Currently, this is the project you must dedicate yourself to accomplish, even as if it were a life or death situation. You will do that, right? I will wait. I have opened a communication channel, and if you have good suggestions, please convey them through the Secretariat. I will take them under serious consideration. In particular, I know that today there are proud, blessed families and leaders here who have entered their records into the Chumbo one and have reached that standard of completion as citizens of Chanilguk. We must do the utmost on our path until we reach the moment our Heavenly Parent applauds us. You can do this, right? Then I look forward to this with great expectation. I pray that God's blessing, God's great blessing and love will be with you in your families and in all the life activities you are responsible for. All right, so this week it was a little bit longer. When I was reading the speech, I was trying to find excerpts, but it was all really powerful from True Mother. And for me, I just felt that, you know, this was a month ago, but I feel like it was what Mother was talking about was perfectly connected to what we just accomplished with our national FamiCon and our sub-regional FamiCon. In this speech, you know, Mother's talking about America specifically. You know, she talks about how much investment True Parents poured into America, but how difficult it was. But I'm not sure if everyone has heard from Reverend Dunkley or from your sub-regional leader, but True Mother said clearly that, you know, the reason why the World Summit was victorious is because of America's victory. And, you know, we claimed the victory. We were there with True Mother. You know, we were a part of True Mother's victory, that she could proclaim Chanilguk, that she could, you know, proclaim that this is a completely new age. And, you know, she claimed the victory and she said, all right, next step, we're going to restore the nation. And I feel like as an American movement, we really try to be in step with True Mother, and our leadership organized, you know, FamiCon. They organized a sub-regional FamiCon and really trying to get everyone on the same page with True Mother and to celebrate the victory, to realize, you know, we did this together with True Mother. And I really love at the end, she says, you know, I will take your suggestions into serious consideration. I think that's one exciting thing. It's a new age where, you know, it's the age of settlement, where we're all on the same team working together. And yeah, and True Mother's really sharing her love. And I know for me, I'm sure for all of us, you know, it can feel like a big responsibility, a big weight. You know, she says within 2 years we need to restore this nation. And you know, so I have to look at myself and evaluate, you know, my life. Am I really living the kind of life that I can restore a nation? I don't think so, but at least I can contribute a little bit more every day to the people around me. And I think Reverend Dunkley talked about, you know, you have faith in the ideal, but you have to have courage to deal with our reality. So I think it's important to keep faith. You know, True Mother is giving us the ideal, but also we have the courage to really face our own reality, maybe our family or community's reality, and the courage to hold on to that ideal, even though our reality doesn't match. So that's a short hundoke. Encourage you to read the speech. I'm sure your own internal voice is more beautiful than my voice, so you can gain more. And just a quick announcement. We only have one announcement, but if there is anyone here in the call who is a part of planning for any regional camps, you know, One Heart, Lone Star, Aurora, whatever it is, please send any information to Joshua or Kaylee or Yasu, just so National YAM can know what's going on. And that's it for me. Thank you. Back to you, Josh.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for sharing that Hindake with us. And yeah, it's really inspiring to hear, especially how Mother is clearly expressing that our uniqueness needs to shine and that she's looking for suggestions from people. And she kind of has this attitude that we need to get bigger, we need to be more, we need to have politicians just really looking even towards us. We need to build the secretariat. It's an expression of where we need to go, and it does require everyone's offering. And so the exciting thing was over this past weekend across all 5 subregions, simultaneously everyone was hosting a Famicon experience, and everyone had their own unique thing that they were doing. And the Famicon is kind of this leadership workshop where anyone could have come because everyone is a leader. And even last call, Dr. Kim said, or Reverend Dunkley said that you had to be on it. You have to go, and if you don't want to go, then you have to request to not go, right? So especially young people were in attendance. And so a lot of what was shared about there was claiming victories. That was the big thing. Claiming the victory like Mother was just expressing. We have to claim the victory of the last 7 years so that we can move on into the next 7 years. And then not just claiming victory, but then in what's our plan? Like, what's the structure in which we move forward? And that was when, as all subregions introduced the offering table, which is a spreadsheet that has all these different columns of ways that we can offer ourselves towards the providence and towards these next 7 years. It's kind of like, it has everything on there, from social media to Heavenly Travel Messiahship to young leadership development. And all of it is an expression of, especially like what Mother's been saying, is that everyone has a piece of realizing this providence. Everyone has a portion and an influence on this offering that we give. And so we're going to be hearing testimonies about people's experience at Famicon. And the first one is an incredible sister from Subregion 1, who's actually the national, I want to say she's like the national social media manager. She's the one that's bringing you all that fabulous content on Family Federation pages and some YAM pages too. She works incredibly hard, and she's going to share with us her testimony from the Subregion 1 Famicon that I was at too. So let's all unmute ourselves and invite Yoshie and Manaka.
Yeah,
Yoshie.
Hey.
Okay. Power hour. Exciting. So many great faces. I'm excited. Yeah, this Famicon, I think it's a little difficult to give a testimony just about the weekend, because the weekend was so much about digesting the last 7 years, and claiming the victory. And so I think that there was a lot of reflection going on and realizations for myself that happened at Famicon, but weren't necessarily because of Famicon, but like I felt like finally I had a space to just kind of sit and take it in and realize like the magnitude and the journey of everything. And like even this morning I was thinking about like our starting point 7 years ago when True Father passed away, and like what a spectacular disaster we were all in, or at least myself. I had just come back to LA from working with Love and Life, and just suddenly, yeah, like literally everything is like back at ground zero, right? Yes. And it also gave me a chance to kind of, I got back from Korea, I went to Korea. The Hundoke was really great. And I also really loved that point where True Mother said, you know, send me your ideas. And when I heard it, like the translator said, like, I'll listen to them all, you know, and it was just so, it was so motherly. But Korea, when I go, since I work for Family Federation, it's work, work, work. And I have this, you know, kind of almost, it's an owner attitude is what it is. You know, you go there and you see all the ways that it could be better, you know, and then there's all these reports of victory, and you feel like that report doesn't really match up with my experience of it, especially if you had like something to do with like the planning or like the moving of it, right? And the same with the offering table, the same with my life, you know, like there's the heart of offering, and then like when you own it and when you're the one who's offering it, it doesn't necessarily feel like enough, right? Yeah, it's not going to be perfect. But I guess that's the beauty of it, like the growth and the journey, and like looking back from like where we started 7 years ago to where we are now, and like how excitement is growing, and like really it's the taking a step back and looking at like where you started that like makes it the precious offering, really, right? So I want to talk a little bit about like my part in the offering table, because I'm excited about it. And then I also want to give a little bit of context. Yeah, so I became the social media manager like about 1.5 years ago, I'd say. But it took me 11 months of like fighting to become a full-time employee of Family Federation. And even longer if you take into account the amount of time that it took me, like from the time Nancy approached me for the job to the time I like actually started. I think it was another 5 months. And yeah, I mean, it really felt like Nancy and I were the only ones who felt like social media was an important thing and that there was potential there. And like, there was never clearly a no. It was just kind of radio silence, and like there's, you know, I'm not complaining. It sounds like I'm complaining a lot right now, but it just, when I started my journey here, that was my number one stress. Like, I'm not full-time. Like, I was 1 month away from losing health insurance. And so like when it's at that point, like there's a little bit of desperation there. I didn't know why, but I really felt like this is a really important place for me to be. And I literally, like, physically, I had a visceral like block to even considering doing anything else, like working anywhere else or looking for like other options. I just felt that it was important. And I think that God saw like this kind of heart of like wanting to do something and like put people and opportunities into my life to kind of help me figure things out. So like when I started in September. I had been talking since April to Nancy about starting, but also in September, I got the opportunity to start attending UTS. And like through UTS, I was able to get coaching with now Kimi. And since this was like my number one stress in my life, this is what we spent a lot of time talking about. And he helped me like peel back the layers of my stress onion and help me come to an understanding of why I felt this was so important and what was important about it. And I realized that the power of social media doesn't really have anything to do with like the Family Federation account at all, but it has to do with the second generation and like the spheres of influence that they've already made, you know, like the fact that you have friends who like know you and like you and think you're smart and thoughtful and like peace loving already, and being able to kind of like just be proud of who you are online, and you can change the minds of the people around you, right? And I think I realized that like if we second generation come into this like just pride and start naturally talking about it online, we can change the minds of America really quickly, right? And then right there, my priority shifted, right? I had this feeling that it's important all along, and I had a feeling of like offering, but then it didn't, like it stopped being a job that I was trying to get and became a like a mission and a ministry. And it also had to do with kind of like leading by showing, and what does my personal brand say, and like am I actually comfortable enough myself, you know, to be able to talk to former employers, or not talk to them, but just, you know, even make a post, you know, that I'm attending a victory over communism class, you know, stuff like that. Like, am I like comfortable to do that online? Yeah, anyway, so finally things worked out and I became full-time, and by the time it did, it was like my understanding of the job had changed completely, and this was my responsibility and the thing that I'm spearheading. And I, again, literally think we can change the world by being proud online. But I'm in the middle of it and I'm falling short, you know? And my, you know, just like how in Korea I was in the middle of it and I felt that things could have been better, and like how on December 28th I was in the middle of it and I was exhausted and I felt like things could have been better. Specifically, the thing that I felt I was falling short on was like, how do you track it? You know, I can talk about it, and I do talk about it all the time to everybody, but like quantifiably, how do you know like who is an activated brand ambassador, right? And to be honest, I didn't know, and I didn't put any like, I don't know, I shied away from it, and I avoided it in my head, and I just kind of let it be. And I think I really kind of felt like it was a failing on my part, you know? Yeah, I had been stuck, but I think that God still saw my heart of offering. So before Famicon, after National Famicon, before Regional Famicon, I have also started working with the Manhattan ministry team to help with their branding, and we had a very wonderful 8-hour-long meeting on a Friday night where we got to kind of beta test this offering table spreadsheet so that like other local communities like with their pastors could, like, from a church's perspective, how does this work, right? And then Damien asked me if there's any way we could put social media on the offering table. And I had an answer, because this is something that I've been like thinking about for a very long time, which is great, because then there was already a social impact section and there was already an influencers section, but it was from like a VIP standpoint, like what like ACLC pastors have a reach of like 10,000 or more, right? Or like who is a radio host and like how many people do they reach, right? But because of this conversation and, you know, the fact that I've been talking about it and God wants it to happen, we added a social media part in there, and we added a over 1,000 reach, right? So if you are a unificationist and you're proud of being a unificationist, and you like understand that you have a like a responsibility to just represent Family Federation and True Parents, then you belong, and you have 1,000 Facebook friends or more, or like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitch, whatever, you know, you belong on the offering table. And yeah, anyway, I just kind of felt like yeah, I hid from it. I didn't say anything about it, and Damien kind of pulled it out of me. You know, it was like I was scared to put my offering literally on the table, and God took it anyway. Yeah. So my offering made it onto the table, and like, given the journey, you know, it like has really like special meaning for me, you know. And I think, yeah, anyway, it's exciting because now, like, literally the one thing that I didn't know how to do, like, now there's a way for me to track it as a part of the offering table, right? So again, talk to your local pastor if you want to be on that part of the offering table. Yeah, this has been my thing and my focus for the last year and a half. And like all offerings, I felt that it was imperfect, disorganized, and there are things that could have been better. And I could have worked harder. But yeah, I think that I'm really grateful for Famicom to kind of have given me the opportunity to take a step back and breathe and like take in like the last 7 years and claim it all as a victory, you know? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's my testimony. Thank you.
Thank you, Yoshie.
Thank you.
飲ました。
Yeah. It's amazing. She's been fighting for however long to make social media part of the offering, and to see how God is able to create that when someone offers himself already and serves and serves and serves in this way, then God creates an opening. And now for those that haven't seen the offering table spreadsheet, again, there's a column on there that's for influencers, and what we're trying to track is how are we connected to people with influence in the world. And one of those on there is unificationists and people that endorse us in general who are engaged on social media. And that's like Yoshie's major focus. So I love how she put it. She's like, this is a ministry. It's not just something that you do for fun. It can literally become the ministry. And she is the national pastor of it. So thank you, Yoshie, for your heart and for, of course, never giving up, and then also excited for what's to come. Yeah, Sub-Region 1. Woo! Nice. So now we're going to go south and go down to Sub-Region 2 with the man who actually helped me to get married a little bit. He is a BFM coordinator. He supports on a major level down in his community in Sub-Region 2, and he has an amazing testimony to share with you all today. So if you can please unmute yourself and invite up Benjy Uyama.
Benjy! That's awesome. See you all. Yoshie, thanks so much for sharing that. To me, that's like one of the stories or accomplishments you have in your life that you just remember, you know, one of your greatest accomplishments. So I really appreciate you sharing that. Yeah, I'm so glad to be here. I feel so comfortable with you all just right out the bat. This is amazing. So yesterday on Sunday, I gave a testimony at the New Hope Family Church in Maryland, where we had our Sunday service. And so I was surprised, and I gave a testimony about Famicom that we were having that weekend. And I was surprised that I was asked to give this testimony tonight, because basically, you'll probably see a photo of me somewhere. Basically, what I said to everyone at church was, I don't like these events, and I don't like people. That's what I said. That's the first thing I said. And Dr. Kim was sitting right in front of me too. So with that said, here's my amazing testimony. Actually, it starts back last year. Okay, we're going through photos right now. Going through photos. I'm going to wait for these to finish because it's kind of hard for me to focus while these are going on. Yeah, you can get a vibe for, we had lots of good music. All right. So last year, 2019, we had a Sub-Region 2 Yayam retreat workshop for all the youth ministers youth pastors in Subregion 2. We had it at the same church, New Hope Family Church. And I participated in that just because I'm not a youth pastor, but I am involved in youth organizing, some youth things. And at that event was really transformative for me because I decided at that event to start being more involved in youth ministry in my local community. And from that program, we actually started doing more regular youth retreats and workshops in North Carolina together with our local subregion states. And, I was really grateful for that opportunity to participate. And because of that, I joined the ministry team to support our pastor, Josh Angelucci, who's actually here tonight. And then, so I've kind of been involved with our local ministry team for the last year. And then, so when this Famicon thing came up, I didn't really want to go because it's, I don't know, like I said, I didn't really like these kind of things. And then also I kept thinking, like, the only thing, okay, this is kind of silly, but I wanted to share my screen. This is what I think about when I think of Famicon. Okay, here. This thing. Okay. All right, some of you are laughing. If you know what this is, then you are awesome. This is a super Famicom. Anyways, just want to share that. So I was kind of hesitant to go to the Famicon. And then about a few days before it happened, Reverend Patton called me, who was our sub-region director. And he called me and he was like, so Benjy, you're going, right? And I was like, yeah, I'm going. I just decided, like right before you called. So that's when I got really excited about going to Famicon, and our team worked together to try to get as many people from our community as possible to go. We ended up having 10 people from North Carolina go to the program, which was a really great turnout for us. And we're actually in the process of planning a North Carolina statewide Famicon happening next Sunday, on March 22nd, which is very excited. And I just wanted to share 3 things from Famicon that really impacted me and I felt were really powerful. The first thing is that I really like this reporting system, the offering table. I've been a youth pastor and pastor of our church in the past for a number of years, and I really do appreciate how this offering table system is laid out, and that there's a huge emphasis on personal contribution and what can I do personally to offer. Even all of the individuals and pastors and leaders and members that were at Famicon, it was all about what can you do to contribute to the offering table, contribute to the providence, to true parents, and to God. So I thought that was really powerful, and it really got me thinking about what more can I do to support. And actually, the one thing that I'm really excited to offer and to help with is to find a paid youth pastor for our community, which has never been done before because we're kind of a small to medium-sized church community. And that's kind of, and I want to share that because this is the YAM group right here. And I'm really excited to make that happen personally, to actually go about finding that person and even fundraise for it. I'm excited to actually, get the members together and say, how can we fundraise and afford to pay a part-time or less person to coordinate youth and young adult activities. So that's on my mind. The second thing that really impacted me a lot was actually the fact that at our Famicon, I don't know, maybe some of you had similar experiences in your local Famicon, but at our Famicon, there were a number of first generation that came on stage, and they were just in tears because they were so grateful for the second gen young leadership in our movement. They were just so grateful to see young people coming to the Famicon, to leading their local churches and stepping up to the plate. And that really moved me, but also made me feel like, what have we actually done to receive that gratitude? Honestly, we're in our 20s and 30s. When the first generation were in their 20s and 30s, they were doing a lot more than we are, if I'm honest. And they were getting blessed. They were having kids. And on stage yesterday, I told the first generation, your children are the greatest accomplishment of your life. the blessed children that you've had. It doesn't matter who they are, what they've done, where they are right now. They are blessed children. They're God's children, true parents' children, and they are your greatest accomplishment. And I could feel they were really moved by that. And it's something that they don't really think about. It's always more about, you know, what have I done wrong with my kids, or what can I do better, or, you know, that sort of mentality. And I just was really honestly like, you know, you guys are so grateful for us, but we're so grateful for you because, you know, I'm a young dad myself. I have 2 kids who are 5 and 3. I know how the challenges, and many of you are young parents as well, the challenges of having kids. But the first generation had so many kids. It was like, get blessed, start your family, have as many kids as you possibly can until you're too old, right? That was and if you can't have kids, ask someone to offer to donate. I'm looking at Sarah Randall right now. She's laughing. Ask someone else for, you know, that's the heart and faith that the first gen had. And I respect that tremendously as a young parent myself. It was never like, oh, you know, I don't want kids right now. You know, maybe I'll focus on my career. It's like, no, you're a blessed couple. You have kids. And I love that and respect that so much. And so I said that to them. And you know, our first generation members are becoming 60s and 70s, 80s. They won't be around for much longer. And I said, your greatest accomplishment is your kids. Your greatest mission is your grandchildren. You're not finished yet. And if you have grandchildren right now, that's amazing. That's your greatest mission. If you don't yet, you have a wonderful opportunity to prepare for. And even in our movement, we have so many grandkids already, you know, that you can support and take care of in young families. So I felt that really strongly. It's like this sense of gratitude for each generation at the FamiCon. And I think that's such a beautiful thing, that instead of feeling like, you know, there are some things about first generation that I don't like, or second gen I don't like, but really like, how can we be grateful for each other's investment? So that was that. And then the third thing that I really was impacted by is the blessing. What Jinal just shared, he said, the hundoke that True Mother spoke, is that she's established and announced that Chonoguk is here. True Father even announced the establishment of Chonoguk. And the blessing itself, you know, as tribal messiahs, but also as people getting blessed ourselves, matched and blessed. I know a lot of you are not blessed, matched and blessed yet. I know some of you are, like Josh. And the blessing itself is, in the era of Chonoguk, is not a burden. And this is what I really felt strong. It's not a burden that to share the blessing with people. Sometimes we might feel like, oh, 4:30, I feel so ashamed that I didn't do it. No, the blessing is not an obligation. It is a privilege. Being blessed as blessed children, ourselves, as yourselves, being a blessed couple is a privilege and a blessing. It is a blessing to share the blessing with other people, to help people, guide them to receive the blessing. And not only that, but to experience the fullness of the blessing, what it really means to be blessed. And I felt that so strongly yesterday, is that the blessing, sharing the blessing, is a privilege, not a burden. And whenever you feel, oh God, I haven't done the 4:30, you know, I'm so, you know, don't think like that. You know, if you really truly feel blessed yourself, you know, whether you're blessed in marriage or blessed as a blessed child, or blessed to be in this community, have your family, you have this immense privilege, a blessing to help other people experience that. Yeah, so that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Thank you, Benjy.
Yeah, Benjy.
Quiet, so quiet. It's so quiet, it's eerie. On Zoom. Yeah.
Thank you, Benjy,
Yeah.
for sharing.
Thanks, Josh.
And taking, yeah, it's some really powerful things to say, especially, yeah, for just to hear, like, you know, to see like first generation have only gratitude for us when we step up, but in reality, they have given so much more. And that we in particular, we're in this era now where the blessing that we have is just incredible. It's not some obligation or some burden. It's literally a blessing. So yeah, thank you. so much for what you, yeah, just your heart in sharing those things. And I think, yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you. So now we're gonna go to the Midwest. We're gonna hear from Subregion 3, the wonderful sister who's in the 9th grade, actually. Her name is Rachel Kisile, and she helps out with Sunday service. She attends CART meetings. She does a lot over there in Michigan. So if we can all unmute and welcome Rachel!
Rachel!
Rachel.
Michigan. Well, I guess my testimony on the Femicon was it was different than last times. I kind of had low expectations since last time wasn't really that great for me. But yeah, like some pictures are being shown. But I really like the energy, the vibe, really the love that I felt and really experienced there. It was one of a kind. Like you don't just experience this kind of love from anywhere. And one reason why I had low expectations was because last Famicon was all about witnessing, tribal messiahship, and I didn't really feel my part in it because I'm young and I can't really just go out there and bless people. But this Famicon was more about what I can offer as a person. That's how I viewed it, how I can offer, how I can contribute to the offering to the Heavenly Parents and to the true parents. And when we were watching the videos and setting our goals, one thing that really struck me was when he said that your goal shouldn't be about what you have to do, but it should be something you should be willing to do. And I realized that, you know, I do things I have to do, and you know, it's great. I'm not complaining, but sometimes it's more like what I want to do that has a greater benefit. Since we talked about the importance of the heart, it's all about what you put in it, the heart that you have, that really God looks at when you're offering up something. And so when I saw under the social impact that there was HJ culture of art, and I like art, I'm an artist, and I realized that I can offer up my art and really center my art upon God, and I can connect with God on an artistic level, where I can also share it, since art is a worldly language where anyone can understand. And just thinking about art as a unificationist, I realized that not many people portray their arts in like our movement. We appreciate art, we think it's beautiful, it's God felt, and when we look at like videos or watching events happen in Korea or all around the world, we see that art is really portrayed and we appreciate it, but we don't personally encourage it. And I realized that I can be in that area, I can be a leader and step up, and by me showing my art, maybe I can inspire other first generation, second generation, and third generations to also release their artistic skills. In that way, I know I can be a leader. And also, Famicon really showed me that I don't have to go out and do big things for me to think that I'm playing my part in the offering table or really in accomplishing the mission. I can do small things with a big heart and great love for it to make an impact. All I have to do is really impact one person, and God will be happy with me. And we talked about having a heart, a strong faith and attitude and commitment. And really, I think that those can really go in any category. Whatever you do, you set your mind to it. You have to be completely dedicated to it, have an open heart, and be one with God, be able to connect with God, bring God to whatever you're doing, and keep your faith. I know we all go through our battles. And really the testimonies made me realize that just because I'm a second gen doesn't mean I won't go through the struggles, the hurdles, or the battles that life and Saturn is going to throw at me. But I have great elder brothers, sisters, and also the first generation to help me, since they've gone ahead and experience things that I haven't experienced. But with their experiences and advice, I can be able to go through my hurdles and struggles, and I have them as comfort and trust. And that's really the love that we as unificationists have, that we shouldn't keep for ourselves as unificationists, but we should go out there and show and portray it to the outside world. And in one way I can do that, I can apply it to my life, is when I'm with my friends, they all think I'm this, caring, loving person, and really I am, but it's only because I was raised with such a culture, such a sense. It's ingrained in me to be loving, caring, and I realized that people outside don't have that, and when they see me have it or portray it, they're like, oh my God, you're one of a kind. But I really shouldn't be one of a kind. We should all be loving, caring, and really inspiring each other. So I, as a leader, I'm speaking into existence, I'm willing to step up and really, I don't have to talk about the true parent or like, oh God, really, I just have to live a good life, set an example for the people around me, so that even in the littlest tiny bit, I can show them what true love is, since I have experienced true love from my brothers and sisters, God, the true parents. I know what true love feels like. I know what true love is, and also they deserve a chance to experience what true love is. And I think that going forward into this seven-year period, I'm really excited. I have great hopes and ideas of how I can improve Grand Rapids, Michigan, and really Michigan. I believe that the United States can really take up its position as the elder brother and really lead the world. True Mother has great hopes for us. And if we look back at the past 7 years, we really did work hard and a lot. And I think we can double it, triple it, and work even harder to set a greater example for the world. Well, that's what Famicom really taught me and made me feel. Thank you.
Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you.
Oh, Rachel!
Yeah, thank you, Rachel, so much. I want to correct you though. You said you only need to do small things, but when you do things with a big heart, they are big things. So you're doing huge things already, Rachel. Even speaking it into existence, that's everything. And I love how you were inspired by the Hyojin culture of arts. And feeling like there's a space on this offering that we bring to True Mother for that. And like you said, it's just being confident and being proud, and then just living the best life that you can. It's really amazing. And then someone was like, oh yeah, future leader. And I was like, oh, actually, this is a current leader, Rachel. Anyway, thank you, Rachel, so much. Okay, now I do want to acknowledge, we have 2 more testimonies tonight. It's already 9:50, and I know we're gonna go over a little bit. And if you're willing to stay on, please stay on. And if you need to go, please, you can go. I just apologize on behalf of the Empower Our team, and that we will be going a little bit over 10 o'clock Eastern today. So just throwing that out there. But please, if you need to leave, you can. But now we're going to Subregion 4 with the Secretary General, and the man who made the FamiCon happen is what I hear in Las Vegas. And as Mother was saying, it's like we have to build the Secretariat. This guy is literally the Secretariat. He is the one in Subregion 4, the nation of Subregion 4. So if we could all please unmute and invite the great Izak Hernandez.
Yeah, Isaac.
Yeah.
Secretariat. Isaac.
All right, thank you. Wow, thank you for that welcome. Yeah, my name's Isaac. from Dallas, Texas. Yeah, Secretary General, it's kind of a interesting title. But in this case, it did mean that I was organizing Famicom, which was kind of interesting how it happened. My sub-regional director, Reverend Jackson, my boss, he mentioned it to me pretty casually. Like, hey, I told headquarters that you're going to be organizing the Famicom. I was like, okay. It didn't really hit me. But then maybe a week out before the National Famicom, I got an email from Kisile, and it was all about, you know, who's organizing the sub-regional Famicoms. And I looked at the people that the email was sent to, and it had my name, but not Reverend Jackson's. So I realized, yeah, that's it. It's on me. Which was, yeah, quite interesting. I was grateful actually that there wasn't so much time to think about it, because maybe I would have panicked or let the fear take hold. But it was just, you know, we have to do this. I have to do this. So I contacted some other young adults in my area and made a team, and we went from there. And then somehow I ended up becoming the MC also. So that was a wonderful experience. Anyways, our Famicom, I'm really grateful to the team that worked together with me for their support, and I'm so grateful to Reverend Jackson for his guidance and his heart. Anyway, somehow Reverend Jackson was able to bring Dr. Kim to our sub-region for our Famicom, which we found out, like, you know, 3 days before it was happening. But we were so blessed to have Dr. Kim there, because, you know, nobody can share mother's heart like Dr. Kim. You know, President Dunkley is pretty good too. But Dr. Kim shared both Friday night and Saturday morning. And Friday night he shared about, you know, the victory that has been won. And the point that's been sticking out to me the most is when he talks about these tears of joy that mother shed at Prudential, and how that was because of America's offering. That was because of America's victory of bringing our Christian brothers and sisters together and founding the WCLC. And I heard from many members afterwards that they had no idea that this kind of victory had been won, and that we were able to move mother's heart so deeply. And on that night also, Reverend Jackson did something really nice. He gave a thank you card and $50 to every person that was there. And this money was from the money that True Mother gave to Dr. Kim, and Dr. Kim passed it on to the sub-regions. And so Reverend Jackson said, this money is a thank you from True Mother for all of your work, all of your investment over the years. So please take it as a gift directly from True Mother. And some people were so shocked. This table of Japanese mothers called me over because, you know, they were so shocked that they found money in their envelope that they thought it was a mistake, and they tried to give it back to me. But I told them, you know, this is yours. This is your gift from True Mother. And so I felt like that night we were able to, you know, really help each person feel like the victory is also theirs. The victory is ours because True Mother claimed it. And we shouldn't push it away. We shouldn't, you know, question it or try to doubt it. We should just claim it because Mother claimed it. So that was one thing. And even Dr. Kim told Reverend Jackson that he was shocked to receive the $50 and that he'd never that was the first time he had received money from somebody other than True Mother. So he was really happy. And the last thing I want to share, I think the last thing is mostly about my relationship with Reverend Jackson. Anyways, as I'm sure you know, it can be a challenge working with the older generation, and just the dynamic of having a central figure in general is, of course, yeah, it has its challenges. So on Sunday morning, the Sunday morning of our Famicon, me and him had some miscommunication and a misunderstanding, and we suddenly changed part of the program, and I was really unhappy, because I had set things up, and in my mind I had set things up the right way and for things to work smoothly, but at the last moment he made a change, and there's this feeling, maybe some of you know what I'm talking about, but there's this feeling you get when you're disunited with somebody. You just know, you feel it in your heart. It's like this weird vibrational thing. You're like just not at the same place. And all throughout Reverend Jackson's Sunday sermon, I was feeling that, and I was feeling so frustrated, and his words, his Sunday sermon wasn't reaching me. And I realized it. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm totally disunited right now. I'm frustrated because I had made this plan and it didn't work out. And so I started just repenting. I'm sorry, God. I know I'm being dumb. I know I'm just being selfish. And I love Reverend Jackson. I'm so grateful for Reverend Jackson. But it was really hard to really get rid of those feelings. And after the Sunday sermon, I had a final meeting with the team, and I hadn't invited Reverend Jackson to the meeting, not because I was angry, but because I wanted him to fellowship with our brothers and sisters from out of town. But my wife, she was just on it. She said, shouldn't we invite Reverend Jackson? I was like, oh yes, let's go ask him if he wants to come. And he came. And anyways, the last thing Reverend Jackson said before the end of the meeting was that he said, we've done this event here before, and we've done other things here before, but this is the first time that I felt like my burden was lifted off my shoulders. And he turned to me and he said, I know that's mostly because of you. And in that moment, my heart was, totally restored. All those feelings just, disappeared. And I felt, this is the power each individual has, right? To lift the burden of Heavenly Parent and of true parents. When we become owners, when we can stand up, when we can, push past our fears and, do our best to unite with our central figures, then we can lift that burden off of Heavenly Parent and true parents. So that's what I wanted to share. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you to the other testimony givers.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you, Isaac.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, that's a testimony. I think many of us have been in the position of feeling that vibration of disunity, but to show, to have that experience in your heart, and then that moment of feeling like because you offered, you could lift the burden off of our Heavenly Parent and true parents, and then the representative of that being Reverend Jackson. That's really powerful. Man, thank you. Thank you, Isaac. All right, we're on to our last testimony for the night. Please stay on if you can. And of course, I think most of us are staying on, it seems here. So we're going to invite an incredible sister from Arizona. and she works with CARP and youth ministry, young adult ministry over there. And she had an experience at Subregion 5 Famicon. So let's invite up this wonderful sister, Inhaa Namvula.
Coming tomorrow. Hi guys. Well, this was actually my first Famicon ever. I've never attended one previously. Because I just recently joined like CARP. Well, not CARP actually. I'm the young adult leader for Arizona. So I joined back 2018. So taking over. This is like my first opportunity to experience all the different workshops that have been held. But as far as Subregion 5's Famicon went for me personally, it was a fantastic time. I got to witness, first of all, what I think was great and kind of admirable leadership, intergenerational leadership actually from our leaders. So Jennifer Pierce, Sarah Takar, Reverend Krishnak, Reverend Thompson, just to see all of them come together in a very cohesive way of putting on Famicon was wonderful to witness. So that was pretty inspirational. I think a lot of times too, just growing up, it's very much always the first generation we just see running and doing everything. So it was nice to see, because Jennifer and Sarah are my age too. So it was like, oh, okay, well, this is something I could do too. We can all work together. And then I guess what I took away, the biggest thing I took away from this whole experience was a greater understanding of the offering table and the emphasis that every single one of us can make an impact. And at first, when they showed us the whole Excel spread out sheet, I was immediately put off by it, because I was like, okay, we're kind of quantifying our efforts towards the Providence. I don't know, I would think like it would be more quality. But after we went through and explained it and just kind of went through all the categories, I started to realize, no, it's actually, although there's numbers attached to it, there's more of a quality aspect to it, where it's just, it gave me reassurance that, hey, I, kind of like what Rachel said, I'm young, I'm not blessed yet, I don't have a family, I can't go necessarily matching and blessing people like my parents were trying to do for leading up to 2020. There's some things I felt kind of I couldn't accomplish, but just seeing this layout showed like little things can add up and it does count towards efforts for the Providence and for supporting true parents, heavenly parents, just our whole movement. I think at one point Reverend Thompson mentioned how when it came to the World Summit, I think it was Mother mentioned that Washington Times was one of the biggest sort of vehicle that got all these big, especially American leaders and representatives and just people in high power there. And then he asked the audience, like, how many of you guys subscribe to the Washington Times? And quite a lot of the first generation raised their hand. And he's like, well, great, like it's a subscription. Well, I think right now they're doing a promotion, so it's like $3.33, but normally it's $9. But he's like, just that subscription you guys did is funding towards Washington Times that then helps propel and fuel our movement and get greater people to come and show up for True Mother and show the world just like who our true parents are. And I was like, oh, well, that kind of put in perspective, like, hey, I mean, I pay for Netflix. I could easily go ahead and maybe put some money towards the Washington Times, just like little things like that, or just even attendance. Just like, hey, I should definitely stay on top of keeping up with daily Hundake and stuff. Like, this is all going towards the Providence. So that was like the biggest highlight for me, and one of the biggest takeaway. I was not familiar with the offering table, because back at the summit in September, Reverend Dunkley did go over it, so I knew what it was about. So this wasn't my first experience with it, but just, I guess, getting greater depth and understanding of what it was really kind of assured me, like, hey, I can do something. But not even that, I could go back to my community and tell the other young adults, and even the children and the youth, like, hey, doing this, you are making an impact. Especially, I know growing up, a lot of times you'd hear like, oh, we're in this providential era. This is what true parents have assigned our parents to do, this, and this. And I would just like sit around and be like, okay, just be a filial daughter and I'm good to go. You know, didn't really feel like a part of the movement. Like I just knew, hey, just follow my parents' direction. But now I feel like I can take ownership, especially my age, and know that I'm doing something and helping with another victory. And that was actually another thing too. I think I was surprised to hear that True Mother proclaimed like Prudential Center as a victory. Because I don't know, maybe for me personally, I don't think I ever really heard like too many victories, or if there's a victory, there's like, okay, now you have to do this, this, and this. We have to keep going, or we were close but didn't achieve it. So it was great to hear that, hey, like this was a victory, and we were getting told like you need to celebrate this and like be proud of what you did. I don't think I did anything really, but it's nice to hear that for everybody else who definitely were central and helped achieve and put on everything. Like I was happy to hear that they claimed the victory for True Parents. And then what else? At one point during like the weekend, they did divide the regions into either the groups they representative or like the states. And so for my state, we were all seated together, and we had a first generation couple there with us. The rest, so it was 7 of us all total. 2 were first generation couple, and then the rest were just the youth. And we were just talking about like community goals and what we wanted to do for Arizona, and just how we could help members and kind of explain the offering table to them and things we could achieve. And it, as a young adult leader, I really actually don't interact too often with our first generation, you know, working together to come up with things to do to help our community. I mean, we do have a central figure that me and Rie Fukuzaki, who's the other leader with me, that we go to get advice and get help with. But besides that, we don't really reach out to the rest. So it was interesting. It was a good experience to learn and see like, or get the opportunity to work together and say, hey, we could do this, or to bring about like both the positive and negative things we saw in our community and what we could take away from what we gained during this weekend and implement it back when we get to Arizona. So that was a wonderful opportunity. I was grateful to like get to hear from like Uncle Stoffin and Auntie Jan, like, whoa, okay, you guys have really great ideas. And I didn't realize just how much like we all both agreed on and see and recognize in our community as both great things, but also failings we have. And this FamiCon definitely gave me the opportunity to experience that. If I didn't, I think I would have just still gone back, and Rhea and myself would continue just kind of doing things by ourselves and with our central figure, Uncle Mark. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep this short. I think just I don't know, the biggest thing was just the idea like there's different things and different categories and different ways that every single person can contribute to the offering table. I like that there was different categories, especially the social media aspect too. The fact that, hey, you know, being I mean, right now people are social media like are influencers, and they have a lot of pull and sway in just the world overall with businesses and different companies. So it's great too that we're recognizing that, and it's a chance for other BCs too to be like, hey, you know what, I'm doing really well. Now this is something I can use as a gear towards our movement. And then even that, like even just basic things such as attendance too. Because I know we have a small community too. So sometimes I know like our young people get disheartened with some things, like they're not really sure how they can do or what they can do to help. So this is a good way just for me to go back and be like, hey guys, there's different ways we can all do something, little things we can do. And Josh kind of said it's little, but they can have a great impact. But just to show like it's a small things, like he said, small things can have a great big impact. But let's see, yeah, I think that was just about it. I'm trying to keep it short. I know you guys probably want to get going. But yeah, for first FamiCon, definitely a great experience. And I appreciated my time there. And thank you guys all. Thank you for all the testimonies.
Thank you, Inhaa.
Thank you.
Man,
Oh.
that was just the power of having a place for our young people and our young adults to deliver and to take ownership and to see it there. That's really, really powerful. And I thank you for doing that. And I want you to know that Prudential, the victory of Prudential was certainly something that you contributed to as well. We all did in every offering that we gave. It's all there on the offering table. All of it leads to the restoration of this country and to the world. So it's awesome, super awesome. Okay, thank you all subregions. Thank you for everything, every testimony. Yes, you guys are amazing. And thank you for coming on to the Empower Hour. I hope you feel inspired. And if you don't know about the offering table yet, you will. And if you haven't heard about it, then just get on your pastor's case. We're excited to deliver as young adults and as just young people in general. And yeah, let's make true mother, true parents, and God happy. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good
Bye-bye.
night.
Bye.